Hello everyone, my name is Lori Bowling, and today I will be discussing the provisions of the Buckley Amendment, also known as FERPA, and its implications for school counselors. This presentation will provide an overview of the law, highlight key provisions, and offer practical guidance for school counseling. Here is an overview of FERPA. What is FERPA? FERPA is a federal law designed to protect the privacy of student education records. It's important for school counselors because we regularly handle sensitive student information. In this presentation, we'll cover what FERPA is, its key provisions, and how school counselors can ensure compliance while maintaining ethical considerations and standards. The purpose of the Buckley Amendment: to protect student privacy and prevent unauthorized release of personal information, give parents and eligible students rights regarding educational records, ensure accuracy of student records through the right to request correction, limit who can access records and under what circumstances, promote transparency by requiring schools to inform families of their rights annually. And here's just a short little information sheet on the Buckley Amendment and who it applies to and what it applies to. FERPA defined. FERPA stands for Family Educational Right and Privacy Act. The law applies to schools receiving federal funding and grants parents and eligible students certain rights regarding education records. Essentially, it ensures that students' information is protected and only disclosed appropriately to the right people. There are a few key provisions. The key provision of FERPA include the right to inspect and review education records, the right to request amendments to records believed to be inaccurate, and the right to provide or withhold consent before disclosure of personal identifiable information. Education records. Education records are broadly defined as records directly related to students and maintained by the school or its agent. Examples include grades, transcripts, disciplinary files, and counseling notes that are not part of official records. Understanding what constitutes an educational record is critical for school counselors. Let me correct myself and say that it is counseling notes that are a part of official records. Directory information. So FERPA allows schools to designate certain information as directory information. So this includes the student's name, address, honors, or activities. And this information can be disclosed with for the students, but parents can sign an opt-out form, and counselors need to know what qualifies as directory information to avoid proper and to provide improper disclosure. So make sure that we are not giving out information that we should not give out as counselors. Consent requirements. Generally, written consent is required before education records are released. However, there are some exceptions, including disclosure to school officials with legitimate educational interest, in emergencies, or for audits. School counselors should always verify whether an exception applies when sharing any type of information. Some implications for school counselors. As school counselors, FERPA has direct implications on our daily work. We must maintain confidentiality, ensure secure storage of student records, and follow proper procedures when releasing records. We must be diligent in these practices because it protects both the students and the counselors legally and ethically. Some best practices. Some best practices for counselors include informing parents and students of their rights under FERPA, documenting all disclosures, and adhering to your school district's FERPA policies. These practices ensure transparency and compliance with the law. Some common challenges include balancing confidentiality with legal obligations, handling requests from parents or teachers, and addressing misunderstandings about who has access to records. Counselors must navigate these challenges carefully to avoid any type of violations. Here's a couple of case examples. For example, a parent may request to see counseling notes. Counselors are going to have to determine whether these notes are part of the student's school record or if they're sole possession notes, and those have different rules. For example, if they are just your personal notes that are not in the files, those do not have to be shared. Another scenario involves student information that a teacher is requesting without a legitimate educational need. In such cases, that disclosure would be inappropriate. Practical guidance. Practical guidance includes clarifying what counts as an educational record, distinguishing counseling notes from other records, and consulting supervisors or legal counsel when you're not sure. And this proactive approach minimizes risk and ensures ethical practice. FERPA and school counselors, what can be shared, understanding what can and cannot be shared. So here is just a little chart, and it shows the education records, grades, attendance, and official counseling notes only with consent or legitimate educational interest. Consent required for most disclosures. Parents of minors have access. Type of record, sole possession records, so that's just private counselor notes, and it is not required to share, and it remains private, and it's not considered part of the education record. Type of record, health and safety emergency info. We can share without consent, but we're only going to share when it's necessary to protect the student or others. Court orders, subpoenas, can share as required, and we're going to follow the legal instructions exactly, and we're going to notify student or parent if possible. Teacher and staff consults, only if legitimate educational interest. Do not share private notes unless added to official record. Parent requests for private notes, cannot share self-possession notes. Only official education records are accessible under FERPA. In summary, FERPA protects student privacy, and school counselors play a key role in ensuring compliance. By following both law and ethical standards, counselors can safeguard student records while supporting the best educational outcomes. Thank you for your attention. Here are the references used in this presentation, including Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, the U.S. Department of Education, the ASCA ethical standards, and our text.